Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland. We'd like to begin today's service with Sutra chanting, and we'll be chanting Juseige, which is on page 23 in the small purple book and page 93 in the large purple book. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Gagon chosegan hishimu jodo shigan fumanzok seifu joshogak gaomunyoko Fui dai seshu, fusai shobing, seifu joshogak, gashi jobutsudo, myocho jipo, Kukyomi Shamam Seifu Joshogak Ryokujin Shonem Joeshu Bongyo Shigemu Jodo Isho tenin shi Jinniki and Aiko Fushomu Saido Shojo Sankumyo Kosai Shiyakunam Kai Hichi Egen Meshi Kon Moam Hei Sokusho Akudo Tsudatsu Zen Shumom Koso Jomanzok Iyoro Jippo Nichigatsu Shujuki Tenko Ompugen Ishikai Hozo Koseku Dokuho Jodai Shichi Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Butsu Gusoku Shitoku Hom Ganeshitsu Joman Tokui Sangayo Nyobutsu Mugechi
Tsudatsumi Fusho Gangaku Eri Toshi Saisho Som Shiganya Koka Daisen Okando Kokusho Tenin Touchin Myoke Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda.
All right, that sounded pretty good from where I was sitting. It's nice when we chant and everyone chants out loud, and because we're chanting together. But next, let's recite the three treasures, which is on page 3 in the small purple book. The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda. Okay, thank you very much. It's wonderful to see you here today, here at our Buddhist Church of San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland, right? That's the new name for all this stuff. And so, well, I guess they didn't really vote. The big vote's coming at the end of May, so we'll see. Do we have to change the name of the church, right? If they change the name of the airport, right, change the name, that's what's going on, right? That they want to change the name of Oakland International Airport to San Francisco Bay Area International Oakland Airport. right? And so we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a very good idea. I'm proud to live in Oakland. I think Oakland's name stands on its own. We don't need to try and borrow some kind of magic from someplace else to try and increase sales, right? And so, and I think if you're not smart enough to realize there's more than one area in the Bay Area, one airport in the Bay Area, then you're definitely going to be confused when you think you're going to San Francisco and end up in Oakland, right? So don't change it, please. Given that it's April and we did Hanamatsuri last week, right, with our service commemorating the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha, I kind of wanted to talk maybe a little about Shakyamuni Buddha, who is one of the key figures in Buddhism, if not the key figure, right? The name Buddhism comes from Buddha, right? And so Shakyamuni Buddha is the historical Buddha, right? The Buddha that actually lived in our world 2,500 years ago. Scholars generally agree on that, right? I think there was, leading into 19th, 20th century, there were questions, the historicity of Jesus, and that also kind of led to historicity of Shakyamuni, historicity of the Buddha. Even historicity of Shinran. There were even scholars in the late 19th, early 20th century that questioned even the true existence of Shinran, the founder of our school. We could also ask about Amida Buddha, right? So one thing to know is the Buddha in our altar here is not Shakyamuni, it's Amida Buddha. Right? And one way you can tell is by the hand symbols. So if you ever go to, we're so fortunate to, I'm not putting down San Francisco. I love San Francisco, right? And there is the San Francisco Asian Art Museum, right? And they've got some amazing Buddha images. They have a whole section on Buddhism and Asian religion, going all the way from India, Southeast Asia, East Asia, you know, all kinds of stuff. So you can go and see all these images. And it can be kind of confusing because, you know, what am I looking at? But one way to tell the difference between Buddhas is by their hand positions. So our Buddha has one hand doing kind of the okay, right? And the other one is doing okay but backwards, right? So there's that, like this, right? You might also see images where he's like this. You might also see images seated where he's like this. But if you see that, then it's a pretty good guess it's Amida. There's other ones where like the hand like this maybe, and either holding something in the lap or down. That might be Shakyamuni. There's one with the finger like this and grasping the finger like that. That might be Vairochana Buddha. This is called the Vajra fist mudra. Right? So there's all these different, they're called mudras, these hand symbols that can kind of help us identify an image that we're looking at. So, you know, that's one of the questions. How many Buddhas are there? It could be multiple choice. A, 1. Right? B, 2. C, 10. E, D, none of the above. Right? So then you have to, maybe E, fill in the blank. Right? And I think we could probably just put infinity there. Right? And we'll just find there's an infinite number of Buddhas. It's not like there's just one. That's one of the interesting things about our religion, right? Is it's not about one. It's not this kind of mono-Buddhistic religion, right? Implying monotheism, right? That instead, this recognition of multiple Buddhas. But Shakyamuni is pretty important because he's our Buddha in a way, right? He's the Buddha of our world. And without Shakyamuni, we wouldn't have Buddhism. We wouldn't be here today. Right? And so last week was Hanamatsuri, which is the birth of the Buddha, kind of the beginning. And then it's kind of, I was thinking about that, like beginnings. So thinking about beginnings, right? And when you start a story, do you know the end? Right? Starting a story, do you know the end point? I'm going to talk about Shogun more later, but it's like I'm familiar with Japanese history, so I basically know the end, right? In a very broad sense. And so sometimes when you know the end and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to read this. I already know the story, you know. But so I'm watching Shogun and I'm like, yeah, I know that. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, he did that, you know. And you start getting drawn into the story, right? So I think even when we know the end of the story, we can still listen to the story. We can still appreciate the story, right? Appreciate this kind of beginning, right? That, oh my gosh, something's starting here. There's a story starting. So Hanamatsuri is kind of like that, I think, for us, right? The birth of Shakyamuni, the beginning of this incredible life of an incredible person who we still appreciate today, right? Who we can still learn from today. And so, thinking about Shakyamuni's life, and he's awakened. So fast forward to Bodhi Day, which we'll do in December, right? And he attains enlightenment. He becomes Buddha. That means awakened one. He becomes awakened, enlightened. And then, fortunately, he didn't just go off into the mountain to enjoy it by himself. He stayed and went on and taught for 50 years, right? Wandering around, teaching whoever wanted to listen, right? And teaching people, each person, what they needed to know. And so I think one way we can look at this is the awakening, wisdom. The going out and teaching, compassion. Right? So we can see that wisdom and compassion in the life of Shakyamuni Buddha. Right? This trying to be awakened and then trying to teach it to others. Right? This teaching kind of idea. So, I think I've talked about this recently, but it's this whole thing of part of it's for myself, right? Part of it was for Shakyamuni. I don't know that when he set out, that he was really thinking about everyone. He was like, I got to find the answer. I got to find the true meaning of life. I thought life was just pleasure and happy, right? But then I found out it's not. There's old age, sickness, death. What's going on? I got to find the answer. Right? So he goes out to seek this answer, this kind of spiritual quest. But when he finds it, again, he doesn't keep it to himself. So not only does he awaken himself, but then he wants to pass that on to others. Right? So it's partly myself, partly care for others. Right? That those two, they're like the wings of a bird, two sides of the coin. Right? That both of those are what Buddhahood is about. It's not a purely solitary, just in it for me thing. It has to be for the sake of others. But if I try to help others without awareness, right, that may be harmful to others, actually. We're trying to be helpful, but we could be harming. Right? So that these two, the wisdom and compassion, work together. Right? So that we can help others as best we can. Right? So this wisdom and compassion of the Buddha, awakening himself, then trying to awaken others. Guess what? That's for us too. That's the ultimate goal of Jodo Shinshu, right? Is to awaken the aspiration for enlightenment. Oh, I could do that? I could be a Buddha? Wow, cool. Yeah, I want to do that. But not just for me, it's awakening the aspiration for enlightenment and awakening the aspiration to save all beings, right? To help all beings, not just me, not just my family, not just my friends, all beings, right? So that, again, the same thing, trying this aspiration to become enlightened and this aspiration to save all beings. So, how do we do that? Right? And that's where we end up with all these different kinds of Buddhism. Right? That I think that in a way we could see this as the goal for Buddhism in general. It might be expressed slightly different ways. Not all Buddhists want to be Buddha. Okay? That's not necessarily the goal for all Buddhists, but I would think all Buddhists might agree that the goal is to become enlightened. There's a subtle distinction there. Okay? But again, it's not just for my sake, it's to try and help others. So that's, I think, for each one of us, if you feel that, right? If you feel that call to, wow, I could become enlightened. How do I do that? I want to find out more, right? And that could become kind of a personal quest, right, for oneself, and also that realization that it's not just for me. I got really into Buddhism when I was in college, 1990, I actually came out here to California. I was living in Massachusetts and came to a BCA temple, not this one, Palo Alto Buddhist temple, and heard the Dharma talk. I had no idea about Buddhism, but I heard the Dharma talk and light bulb. What is this? This is fascinating. I was so fortunate to get grabbed by it, right? And to realize, I don't think I even heard anything really doctrinal or anything really specific, but it was just something grabbed me, right? And made me realize I want to learn more. And that was my quest beginning, my personal quest, right? To read as much as I could. This is pre-internet, basically, right? So I could only read books, magazines, but there weren't even really magazines, so basically books. And I didn't really have anyone to talk to or ask, or, oh, here's a person. Oh, here's a person. And it gradually began to spread, right? I was very fortunate to study with Taitetsu Unno. We just did the Taitetsu Unno Memorial Lecture at IBS this past Friday. And so his son, Mark Unno, is having this kind of memorial lecture. And, Tai Unno touched so many people, myself included, right, that I was able to study with him early on in my path. One of the most important events for me, see, I'm still shy, believe it or not. It doesn't look like it when I'm up here, but one-on-one I can be shy, right? Or in a group especially, I think, is when I get really shy, right? But I started working at Starbucks. This is after I'd encountered Buddhism. And, Starbucks was a great place to try and be Buddhist because it was so hard. If I never have to work retail again, I won't complain. Let's put it that way, right? It's not easy dealing with customers, right? In a sales kind of environment, right? And you're dealing with money and you're dealing with different personalities and all that kind of thing. But I remember, and I was very shy, honestly, right? Like I'm not like a gregarious person to go out and talk to people and ask questions and all this stuff. But I remember standing behind the register one day and it dawned on me. I like people. And I'm talking about customers. I'm talking about coworkers, like the pain in the butt coworkers, managers even, right? And it just, boom, it was like a flash. I like people. I didn't think I did, right? Part of it was being introverted and shy and, likes and dislikes like anyone else, basically, but realizing, wow, even in the midst of being in the trenches of Starbucks, right? That I like people. That's where that thought came out. Right? So I was very fortunate in that sense too, to be able to have that realization, right? And have this, and it affected me. Like realizing that changed me. Maybe I was already changed by that thought, right? Did I change and that thought emerged? Or did that thought emerge and I was changed? Right? Speaking about beginnings, I can kind of look back and try and find, when did my interest of Buddhism start? I know, 1990, January, Palo Alto Buddhist Temple. When did my caring for people and having more, wanting to be with people and realizing I like them actually, right? And so thinking back to that time, I can recognize that, but it was, it's not like an absolute line in that moment. Right? It was more, I was changing. Right? Changing and being changed by the people around me. So that's one answer to this question. How do I do it? How do I become a Buddha? And absolutely, Jodo Shinshu, that is the ultimate goal. That's the point almost. We can find other goals. Be born in the Pure Land. Be in a community. Right? Be with other like-minded people. But maybe find some solace from suffering, I think is another one, right? And maybe that's one that brings us, or maybe that's one that can change us, right? This realizing the difficulties of life, whatever it is, interpersonal or loss or something that happens to us, and then from that, right, realizing, encountering the Dharma, whether we encounter it for the first time or we've been around it the whole time, but all of a sudden it clicks. Or something clicks. Not it, right? Something clicks. Right? We realize, oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, I want to learn more, or I want to be here more. Because you don't actually have to learn. It's not about learning necessarily. Because learning implies knowledge, right? It implies intellect, it implies study, and that's actually not required for us. Because actually, for us, how do we become Buddha? We say the Nembutsu, listen to the Dharma, and hear the call of the Buddha. So that entrusting is awakened in us. So thinking back to that time when I realized, wow, I like people. Was that me? Was that something I did? Was that something that I made happen? No. It was made to happen by everyone around me. Right? It was made to happen by living my life, but in the midst of others. And then having my views changing, right? So that my views could change from, man, these people are annoying. Right? The hardest thing about coffee, I think, and Starbucks is the early morning. Because you're tired, right? And you got to get stuff set up. And then you open those doors and it's like, okay, let's just get these people in and out, in and out. People aren't here to talk. They're here to get gassed up so they can go face their day, whatever kind of day they're having, right? And so that first hour or two, I think, is probably for me, was one of the hardest times. Because people are stressed out and they need their coffee. And they haven't had it yet, right? So that's why they're there. So you're just going, So I could just be like, these people are idiots. Or these people are jerks. And I'm sure I thought that too. But they were also my teachers. Right? They were all, and I wouldn't see that till later. Right? And then when my view changes, then, oh my gosh, I thought this person was a jerk, but I find out they're my teacher. Whoa. They helped move me along. They showed me myself. They showed me my anger, or whatever, my ignorance, my desire. And in that, like realizing, wow, that I'm being shown myself, but not just in a way of you're bad, but in a way of bigger picture and realizing, oh, desire, anger, ignorance, poisons, what's that about? Interesting. We just put up with it usually, but then to realize in Buddhism, it's not evil, although we might call it evil technically, but it's a poison, right? It's not. It's realizing it's harmful, right? That these three poisons are harmful to me and to others, and so Brian and I are going to perform later. And there's a San Francisco East Bay Oakland Buddhist Women's Association. We're going to have the spring luncheon later today, right? And so that's why I'm wearing my FBWA or World. Is this World BWA or FBWA? This wagesa. It's kind of world, huh? It could be both. I think it's both, right? Because it has the actual San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, right, as part of the pattern, and the poppies, California poppies, as the design, right? That's why I'm wearing this, because we have our OBWA event later. But there is this song we're going to perform called One Wish, right? And so this idea of a wish, right? We could think of it, like I've been saying, this wish to become Buddha, a wish to save others. But in our system, that idea of Nembutsu and Amida Buddha, it's Amida Buddha's wish, the vows, or the vow. Right? And that this vow is wisdom and compassion working in the world. Right? That this wisdom and compassion isn't something just kind of intellectual or whatever. It's active. It's working in the world. It's part of the way things truly are, not the way they seem in samsara. Right? And so this wish is expressed in this story of, so this is not Shakyamuni Buddha, this is Amida Buddha, right? Who also is royalty, but he's a king. And he meets a Buddha and realizes, I want to be a Buddha. Gives up his kingdom, kind of like Shakyamuni did, right? And then embarks on this aspiration and practice. And so through this aspiration, making these vows, basically vow that everyone can attain birth in Amida Buddha's Pure Land, which basically means everyone can become enlightened. Maybe not in this life, Definitely not by my own effort, but everyone, anyone is embraced by the vows of Amida Buddha, embraced by the wisdom and compassion of Amida. And so part of that then is saying Namo Amida Butsu. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. I've been talking a little recently about like finding a way, right? Normally we're wandering in samsara aimlessly, not sure where we're going, not sure what we're doing. And then when we encounter the Dharma, we find a way, this path, right, to something bigger, right? This path that we can have a direction now instead of just wandering aimlessly, listening to this call of Amida Buddha. And so we know the result, right? Beginnings is the establishment of the vow, but the vow was fulfilled. These vows were fulfilled. If I say the name of the Buddha, I will be born in the Pure Land. Right? I will attain enlightenment. And I'll become a Buddha to be able to come back and help others. So it's kind of a mythical story, and yet it expresses something that I think is real, that our school is teaching us. Another part of that wish, I'm going to kind of wrap it up, is Shinran expresses it this way: may there be peace in the world. Can we stop firing rockets at each other? Can we stop attacking each other? Can we stop? It's just ridiculous, right? I understand defending yourself, right? And America's done it, right? You might not agree with every way we've done it, right? But attacking others, right? And attacking children doesn't make sense to me. And I don't see, to me in Buddhism, the violence cannot be overcome with more violence, right? Violence can only be overcome by the absence of violence, stopping the violence. Just stop. Come on. You know, it's just really, really, I have a friend who, he keeps texting me everything that happened yesterday. I get a text. I'm just like, I don't know if I really have the energy to deal with this, you know, but just like, okay, I hope it's going to be okay, you know, and I, come on, you know, hopefully, you know, they showed, no, we'll fight back and it'll stop there. And I kind of said, maybe that'll happen. And this morning I'm kind of like, okay, it kind of happened. Maybe Biden will tell him, stop, don't escalate. Let's de-escalate, right? So hopefully other people have this wish too, right? That we don't need to dive into war. We don't need to dive into more senseless killing, right? And so I think that accords with this wish of the Buddha, right? This compassion of the Buddha. I think Shinran found that when he says, may there be peace in the world. The extension of that is, and may the Buddha's teaching spread. And I usually leave that part out because I kind of don't want it to be sectarian, where it's like, you know, maybe these people, ours is the best, you know, and I don't want to express that. But in the sense that I think that Buddha's teachings are about peace, I think that Buddha's teachings are about caring and kindness for others. And I think that Buddha's teachings are about thinking and trying to be aware, right? Not also senselessly just being swayed by our emotions, right? Of course we feel it, but also to have both of those, right? The thinking and the critical thinking, right? To try and move beyond this as well. So I'll go with it. I'll read that for my closing aspiration. So thank you very much. I have on here, see, I've been kind of like thinking, should I start like preaching more? Right? Can I be, the vow has been fulfilled, and you got to know that blah, 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 right? I could kind of try, I think I've been doing it a little bit in the past year or so, right? But anybody can do that. You can learn those techniques of ways to talk to people, to convince people through, right, oration or whatever. Hitler was very good at that, right? Hitler practiced, and have you seen those pictures of Hitler in these poses? Right? He practiced. He had a photographer take pictures of him as he's talking, and right, and that these are good poses to get people to do what I want them to do. That's not what I want to do. I'm not here to make you believe something, right? I hope that I can try and point you in the direction of the Buddha, right? This direction that I feel very fortunate to have found in my own life, Right? Not that I don't necessarily do it well, I don't necessarily walk the path well, but trying to be aware and self-reflective, right? Learning as much as I can about the Dharma and passing on, I don't know, modeling this conviction maybe, that we can say the name of the Buddha, aspire for birth in the Pure Land, aspire for enlightenment, aspire for peace for all beings. So why don't we conclude the Dharma message, and I'll read this expression from Shinran Shoni. May there be peace in the world, and may the Buddha's teaching spread. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay. You can see I have the blue binder, and that means we're going to sing a song from here. Let's sing May Peace Prevail, which is under M, so it's kind of in the second half somewhere. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandam, namandam, namandam. Okay, next announcements.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone here this morning. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. For those of you who are online, you'll see visually what I'm showing here. For those of you here at the church, you could watch this later on YouTube. Today's announcements. Once again, we're starting our study class and Dharma chat sessions. Actually, our next Dharma chat will be, or Dharma study class will be next Saturday, and I'll speak about that in just a moment. So come learn about Buddhism with us, and everyone is welcome to attend, whether it be guests, visitors, or members, longtime members, doesn't matter. You're always welcome to attend our study sections. We'd also invite you to become a member if you're not a member yet, to join the BCO family. And there's brochures downstairs in the front foyer, And you can go on the BCO website for more information or ask one of us. So coming up, what's next? Technically, next service is the Shotsuki service, April Memorial Shotsuki service coming up at 11 o'clock. But next Sunday, the Pets Memorial service will take place next Sunday, the 21st at 10 a.m. Our next Dharma chat will be on Sunday, April 28th at 10:45 following service. And as I mentioned, the next study class is this Saturday, April 20th from 1 to 3 p.m. And the topic will be about Buddha and art, ... and music. For those of you, I don't know how many of you have been on the BCO website. It's really a nice website. We always have all the important items, upcoming events right up top. And if you scroll down further, you'll see that there's a YouTube video regarding the lantern song for Obon, which the BCA, Buddhist Churches of America Music Committee took care of putting together. And there's a nice, really nice, well-done video that you could see. And then there's an Obon dance that goes with it. And actually, next Sunday, April 21st, people from the group will be here to teach us the dance. It's very simple, but it's a lot of fun. We hope you'll join us next Sunday, the 21st, for that. Looking into next month, our Gotanya Fujimatsuri service will be on Sunday, May 12th. This is Shinran Shonin's birthday. And actually, our very, very special guest speaker will be the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America, Reverend Marvin Harada. So he'll be here on Sunday, May 12th, which is actually Mother's Day. But we hope you'll come and join us for this very, very special service featuring our Bishop, Reverend Harada. So, of course, we thank you once again for joining us here today. We appreciate any kind of donation. Is all appreciated of any size. You can do it here at the church. There's plates either front and the back, as well as on the BCO website, the donation page on the BCO website. And there's a QR code that I'm showing actually on the screen right now. That'll take you straight to the donation page. So once again, we thank you very much for coming. If you have any questions about what's going on here, don't hesitate to ask Sensei or one of board members, one of us members. We'd be happy to explain it to you. So thank you very much. Sensei, I'll send it back to you.
Hi, thank you, Robert. One other thing about the Kieshiki affirmation service, which we'll be doing when Bishop comes, the deadline was extended to Friday. So you can, if you're interested in it, we can give you the stuff today. We'll send out an email later today just to let you let people be aware that we extended the deadline to Friday. Okay, this will conclude our service. We'll see you in about 10 minutes for the Shotsuki Monthly Memorial, but let's conclude this one with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Take it away, Steve.